everyone. How do you stay confident when you are standing in a room full of supermodels? How do you rebuild your career from scratch in a new country? And why is the world facing a confidence crisis despite being more connected than ever? We will try to figure it out in today's episode. Today's guest is a true architect of her own destiny. She was one of the top 30 supermodels in the world. She didn't stop at the catwalk. She moved to Italy, became a household name as an award winning actress, famously playing the evil queen, Zaid, in the Never Ending Story 2, and eventually founded her own multimedia empire in the Limelight media. She was even knighted for her global humanitarian work. She was the first American to present Russian TV at the Kremlin. Clarissa's extensive international social work garnered her two private audiences with Pope John Paul II, honoring her social work. Clarissa was awarded the Certificate of Global Honor by the University of Pune, Maharashtra, India. She is an internationally acclaimed award winning media personality, a producer, director, writer, author, public speaker, and former supermodel. And also, not to forget, winner of the Celebrity Survivor show. She is a knighted dame, a tireless advocate for women's empowerment, and the author of the best selling book, The Self-Esteem Regime. Please welcome the incomparable dame, Clarissa Burt.
Oh, how kind.
Clarissa.
I will tell you, you have done an amazing job at your work and your research because you remembered things about me I forgot. That's really great. Thank you for reminding me. People say, Clarissa, you've done so many things. I said, well, because I'm old. I've been around a long time.
No, you don't look old. You are absolutely
Good.
stunning.
You win the microwave. That was the exact answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Clarissa, you have seen the world of high fashion and media from inside out. You often say self-esteem is a discipline, not just a feeling.
Yeah.
So, what is that one non-negotiable thing, habit or thing in your daily routine that protects your confidence from the noise of the industry?
Well, first of all, I'm at a certain age now. I think that, when you come up, I'm in my late 60s, right? So I'm 67 years old. And I think you get to a point in your life where you understand.
What?
Yeah.
Did you say 67?
67, yeah. So I think you understand.
Oh my gosh. Look amazing.
Thank
You
you.
look
That's very kind.
stunning.
Well, thank you very much. I also just want to share with your audience that for me and my, as I was saying, you get to a point in your life where you really just don't worry about, too much anymore. You worry about the authentic things, the real things, the things that make a difference, the things that count, the relationships in your life. And, remembering always that people will always remember how you treated them and they will take that feeling away with them wherever they go. So, I think a lot of us in our earlier years when we're just finding ourselves don't really have all of these tools in the shed that we need to be the best versions of ourselves. We learn how to do that. We become those kinds of people because let's face it, many people don't necessarily, and we always love and honor our parents, but we only learn from them what they know. And so that may not necessarily be exactly everything we need as we move forward with our journey. So, that's one of the first things that in my book called The Self-Esteem Regime, the first chapter is release. And that means releasing everything that you know, that you thought you knew, that you were taught, that told you that it was in marble and that it couldn't change and that, the whole tribal familial construct. And so it's really important to take what they give you, learn what they teach you, thank them for that because they think they're doing the right thing. And then as you move on, you may start to understand that you have to release some of the things that don't serve you. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want anybody to ever feel like I disapprove of them. This is never about bashing my parents. It's always about honoring them, thanking them. They were put in my path for a certain reason. That reason in my life has been to be able to go beyond and what I was taught, knowing that some of the things were not going to be able to sustain me through my whole life, i.e., violence was not going to sustain me. Yelling and screaming was not going to sustain me. Kinds of things that were abusive was not going to sustain me in my life. So there were things I had to let go of, learn, which is a really big step, and then move into the reparenting phase of my own life. So becoming my best advocate. And I was able to do that, Sonia, because I, from a very early age, was going into all the bookstores here in the United States. And there were 3 of them. We had Walden Books, Borders Books, and Barnes & Noble. This is before computers and the internet. It was very important that in the very, very back of the store, in a little corner, there's a section called self-help. And you were lucky if you found 40 books on that self-help section, in that self-help section. And that's where I started to learn. Now, as you go into Barnes & Noble today, my book, and I'll show it to you again, is on the shelves in the Barnes & Noble stores for the last 5 years. So this is lovely, circle back moment where I started is where I'm now able to share all the things I have been able to learn over the years. And personal, now it's called the personal development section at Barnes & Noble, the only bookstore that remains. But it's rows upon rows upon rows upon rows of personal development books. And let's not forget that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And it only goes to show and to prove that we are always constantly looking for guidance, assistance, support, a way out, the reason why, all of the things that, will help potentially for some also get us out of pain and move us toward projection. So I love this work. I love what I do. I love being able to, to share it. And as I say, one of the most important chapters is that first chapter, and it's the release chapter. It's not a book about, my book, The Self-Esteem Regime, is not a book you're going to read about self-esteem. You are going to implement self-esteem by reading the book.
Yes, absolutely. That was profound because gratitude is something everyone should really practice every day.
Yep.
And also the art of letting go things. Because when we let go things, it also helps us. It's, forgiving, the art
Sure.
of forgiving. It's
Yes.
not just about forgiving somebody else, but it's about freeing yourself, getting rid of the struggles that are going on in your mind. So
Right.
that really was profound, and your book is amazing, I must say.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're very proud of it. It's something that I had wanted to do for a very long time. I thank Gary Krebs, who was really instrumental in helping me perfect the book. He was a great literary agent, and we wrote that book during COVID, and we were able to get it into a New York City publisher during COVID, which was almost impossible. It was miraculous, quite frankly, the way this book took flight. And the real estate in Barnes & Noble is very hard to get. And my book has been there for 5 years, and I don't know from which grace that God has, wanted me to be in there, but there we are.
Wow, that's an inspirational story for sure.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool.
So, for someone who has hit a professional or personal rock bottom and someone who's trying to get back on track or recover, what is
Yeah.
the day one exercise to begin rebuilding that internal foundation?
Yeah. Well, rock bottom usually it's a starting point. People think it's the end, and it's really not. It's where you needed to be to understand that you needed to be moving into something different. You need to be moving out of pain. You needed to be into, moving into finding your authentic self. A lot of people when they're in that kind of pain are not really thinking along these lines. They're just wallowing in the pain. The most important part is to know that there's definitely a way out. And again, as you walk into the Barnes & Noble store, you go onto Amazon, or you look into any, just Google personal development, and you'll find, and by the way, which is something I didn't have, right? I didn't have Google back in the day. But when you want to find the way out and a way forward, you will. And so whether it's with meetups, whether it's with any other support groups, whether it's with, all the things that are out there and available to us now, we just have to take the first step in faith and understand that there's a reason. Look, I've been there. I'll tell you that I have been rock bottom with depression many times along my life. And I, in the very beginning, I didn't even know what it was. And so I had to learn about that, understand what it was, understand what I needed to do to get without any drugs, by the way, what I needed to get myself out of it. And this is where the impetus for me to start learning what I could about personal development, self-esteem, self-improvement, self-confidence. Confidence. I love telling what self-confidence is the root word confidence is confidere. I lived in Italy for 30 years. So every once in a while I come out with either Latin or Italian and try to, and I explain root words. Confidere means with trust. So fidere means trust. So trust in self. Full of people initiate lively and conversation, go in for a job interview and know that you're the right person for the job. And even if you don't get the job, you knew you were the right person for it. It's a fabulous point to have self-confidence and knowing that you can. This is a pinnacle of happy, healthy self-esteem, is the confidence that you portray and that you emit wherever you are, wherever you go. I talk about frequently also the value system, Sonia, and that is a lot of people. If I were to ask you, give me 5 of your top values, most people don't know how to answer the question because it's not top of mind, not because they're not smart. It's just not one of those things you think about, right? But I will tell you that your value system is your life's blueprint. It's who you are no matter where you go. You could be in a love relationship, a work relationship, a family relationship, a business meeting, wherever you go, you will take those values with you from which you will never transcend. You know that whatever relationship you're in, you're going to be radically honest. You are going to be very grateful. You are going to be the best person that you know how to be. And again, we've heard many times, I want to be a better person more than I am today. I will only, what does I want to say? I will only compare myself to the person I was yesterday, not to anybody else, because I wouldn't want to be anybody else. We have to always remember also that we were created by the divine. Call it what you will. If you want to call it Krishna, if you want to call it Buddha, if you want to God, if you want to say they're all fine. They're all beautiful. They all work beautifully. We were created by all that is perfect. So what makes us think that something that is all perfect could create something imperfect? This is really important to us. We are wherever we need to be at any given time. And we bring that blueprint with us. So I like to talk about the importance of that blueprint and getting your top 10 values locked and loaded and make sure you know exactly what they are.
Absolutely. I love that answer because yes, I agree. We all have been created by the divine. There is some purpose.
It's impossible to be look, we're all imperfect, don't get me wrong, but they knew what they were doing when they created us. When they created you, when they created me, when they created my neighbor next door. It doesn't always seem that way, but we know that we have to worry about ourselves. I talk frequently, Sonia, about the grass is always greener on the other side. We hear that all the time because especially now with social media, our self-confidence many times, or our self-esteem, kind of takes a hit because we see other people that might be more beautiful, more successful, have more money, going on trips and things that we may not be able to do all the time. When we talk about the grass being greener on the other side, well, I like to offer that the grass is always greener where you water it. It's always more beautiful where you cut it and trim it and curate it and aerate it, because you see people with aeration machines on your lawn. It has to have air so that the air gets in and the water gets in. You have to fertilize it. So come back home and worry about your own grass. Start curating and taking really good care of your own grass, and then admire somebody else's grass and be happy for them that they have beautiful grass. Because when we are happy for someone else's success, i.e. their beautiful grass, it makes us so much more emotionally intelligent. And that's another really big point of where we want to be with happy, healthy self-esteem. So the other thing is it really greener grass on the other side, Sonia, or is it turf? Is it fake? Is it plastic? Is it perception? Is it not real? And therein is where I try to give cautionary tales, if you will, about being careful about what you see on social media. A lot of it isn't true. A lot of it is filters, and well, we all know the story.
Yes, I totally agree. So, I totally agree. This is so in alignment with what I have heard, read. Thank you so much. You
Sure,
have,
love to share. I'd love
you
to
have
share.
spent over 25 to 30 years in Italy. You became a household name in Italy. How did the Italian philosophy of the beautiful figure shape your understanding of how the internal confidence reflects in our external presentation?
Alla bella figura. Well, I mean, I think everywhere you go in any country, in any culture, you're going to find bella figura. Look at how beautiful the Indian women are. When they're all beautifuled up and they have their henna and their beautiful jewels and their vibrant colors and their flowing gowns. I mean, we all, I think, have a bit of that. I don't want to call it vanity because I really don't think it is. And I have the 4 pillars of self-esteem, and the first is being good. We really enjoy loving the way we're taken care of, the way we look. It's our first foot forward. It's taking pride in ourselves. Yeah. So I would say I think there are a lot of cultures and countries that are very much the same. The thing that I think no matter where you are, no matter where you go, and we've been hearing about this forever, is the proverbial casting couch. The thing that says, I will make you famous, or I will put you in TV. I will put you in the movies. Look at the Jeffrey Epstein thing. Look at the Harvey Weinstein situation. It's all over the world where there's a sexual exchange for gain. And I really think that one of the first things that a woman can do to express her self-esteem is to never do that. There's always another way. There's always another path. You will get to where you need to go. If they're not going to give it to you or they're not going to share it with you, that's okay. They can find someone else, but you must say no, thank you. Walk away with your dignity, with your grace, and then create it yourself. I created in the Limelight media, and doing what nowhere near what I would love for it to be, as big as I would like it to be, but I'm not working as hard either anymore. I'm happy where I am, but I love showcasing other people. So you have to really understand that I wake up every day, as should you and anyone listening, and look in the mirror and know that we are happy looking at ourselves. We are thrilled with the fact that we have never come down to a compromise for anything ever, that we take full responsibility in the decisions that we have made that help us to live in our greater good.
That's powerful. So, how was the experience like? What was the memorable thing during that transition?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was fun, because for a while I did both, and then and then I really sort of just wasn't that exciting to be in front of the camera after so many years. I mean, I had done it for a very long time, between modeling and acting and being on camera talent and then producing television shows for Italy. I was ready to hand the baton over as I was coming up on 50. Experience was the natural progression. That's what the experiences was like, where I wanted to go and where I wanted to be. Then I took some time off. Once I decided to move back to the United States in 2005, and that's what I did. I took some time off. And then at 60 years old, I created in the Limelight media, which is television. So we were on binge networks and a podcast and a digital magazine, which is an immense amount of work. So the magazine has taken a back seat for the moment. My mother was in a very bad car accident 3 years ago, so I've had to dose my time. But the business, I do a little bit less in, but again, these are the decisions that you make when you know that you must move forward and do the right thing and the noble thing. And for me, the noble thing is taking care of my mother. Understanding the fact, and here we go back to what we were talking about with the tribe and the familial tribe. notwithstanding the fact that we never really had a great relationship. We never were very, very close. Just really, I was gone for 30 years. We just didn't have that much going on until my mother was in the car accident. And now we are as close as mother and daughter can be. And more than that, we've also been able to meet each other as two women, which is really kind of interesting to see. So yeah, how was the transition? The transition was great. It was fine. And it was
I am
exactly
so
the way it was
sorry to hear
supposed to
about the
go.
car accident, and I really hope your mother gets well.
Thank you.
She
Thank you.
recovers fast and she gets well.
Thank you. Well, her illness is progressive. So the COPD, which is a breathing problem, is not getting better. It's progressive and getting worse. But the accident, she's a little bit better from that. So thank you. Okay. She's
So,
better. Thank you.
that is emotional.
Okay, so let me tell you, the other thing that I like to tell everybody when we're doing this is taking the high road. We always hear about taking the high road. And so for me, that acronym means honesty, integrity, gratitude, and honor. So we've already talked about gratitude. See, I think is radical, and it has to be honest, and it has to be the truth. So if I think about something like that, when you say to someone, I love you, I really love you. Well, you better mean I love you. You know what I mean? Because that is a huge responsibility. And when you say that to someone, they believe you. And so whereas things change and they shift and they move and they ebb and they flow, and with the emotion, with human emotions, is especially love, never say something like that if it's not untrue. Don't do that. Again, the responsibility that you take when you say that with someone else's heart is immense. And so I say that to women and I say that to men. Don't say it if you don't believe it, especially in the moment. Things will change and again, ebb and flow, but don't say it if you don't mean it. Honesty is something that is non-negotiable. Who are you when no one else is in the room? How do you act? If you knew that you could get away with it, would you do it? I was on a reality show one time. And it was called what's the one on the island?
Celebrity Survivor?
And it was in Italy. And it was called Survivor. It was called Survivor. I actually won. But anyway, I was still on Survivor. And so we were in Nicaragua. I was with the Italian company going down there, and because I lived in Italy for 30 years. And the day that we were going out to do one of the games, and they had the helicopters come get us. So I was in the front next to the pilot, and then there were the two young bikini babes in the back, and they were great. I loved them. They were fabulous. We all got along really well. These two bikini babes said to the pilot, "Oh, please, senor, please, senor." We were speaking in Italian, but he was Spanish. They spoke Spanish. He understood perfectly. "We're so hungry. We're so hungry. Can you please go over there to that little hut and get us something to eat?" It was like a little concession stand. This guy goes over and he does it, and he comes back with the bag of all, food like cookies and chips and the things, that would have been at a concession stand in the middle of nowhere in Nicaragua. And they get in the back and they're all happy because we haven't eaten and we're starving. And I'm feeling great because I'm losing weight. But anyway, they're in the back and they're really, skinny and fun. And they're eating. And then they tap me on the shoulder. And I turned around and they were offering me some of this. And I said, oh, no. Thank you. Now, no one would have ever known had I said yes and eaten it. Nobody would have ever known because they were in the same, they would have been in the same trouble with me. Yeah. So the production would have never known, but I knew that it was against the rules. I knew that it wasn't in integrity. And now I'm not saying, oh, give me an applause. I'm so great. I'm so wonderful. I'm saying that's how I roll. If I have made a pact and I have said to you, I understand the rules of the game and I won't break any of the rules. I won't break any of the rules. So who was I when nobody else was in the room? I was following the rules that I had signed a contract for, and there was no way I was going to break it. So integrity, gratitude, we talked about that. Again, drop and give me 10. If you can't come up with 10 things right now that you have gratitude for, then you need to go back to the drawing board. And then honor. Honor is people think is a military term, and it is obviously. But when we usually think about honoring your parents, we hear about that a lot, and it's important that we continue to do that, notwithstanding if they were good or bad as parents. Again, they only knew what they knew, and they were projecting onto you their insecurities. So again, that's where you leave it at the door and you start to reparent yourself and thank them
Absolutely.
again a
I
million
think
times.
you already answered my next question. It was like, with the rise of AI generated perfection and social media filters, are we facing the global self-esteem crisis? How can we stay human in a digital first world? Uh,
That's a great question. I think it's a really, really great question. And I think a lot has to come back to the parents, and that is, getting the devices out of the hands. Don't put them in, to the devices in the hands of kids that are way too young, or give it to them for a very limited amount of time. Get back to I'm not a parent, so I can't preach. But what I can tell you is that we're losing the human touch, and that is disastrous. So we need to potentially, for an hour every day, an hour every evening, it's everybody puts down their devices, turns them off even if they have to. But that's that 1 hour at dinner time where you're chopping the celery, you're placing, you're setting the table, you're going to all the things that would help to create that community that, of a family that needs to be together, have work together, talk together. So I had said the other day, it's really hard, especially with teenagers when you sit down at the table. So how was school today? Fine. So I had suggested maybe to put like 100 different questions in a fishbowl, and then each one every night has to pull out a question, and then it's a question they're not expecting, that they have to answer. And if it was fun, it could bring laughter, it could bring, depth of thought, it could bring so many fun things. So maybe just try to make that time a fun time, educational and fun and loving. And then everybody goes back because, we got to get ready for work tomorrow. You kids have your homework to do. And so life continues. But if you were to do that once, 1 hour every day, and then of course weekends and other times to be together, out with sports
Yep.
or
I
whatever it is that
absolutely
families,
agree
prefer
that
to
we
do.
should spend quality time every day instead of waiting for the perfect holiday or vacation. So, what is one thing you would want every woman listening to this podcast to know about, like her own part that she might have forgotten?
Yeah. Self-care, non-negotiable. Absolutely non-negotiable. And I don't mean necessarily a haircut and a manicure. And that's fine if that's what that means, but it's non-negotiable, and it goes in the calendar, and it goes in the calendar, if you can, same day, same time every week. So Saturday morning from 9 to 1, that's mom's time. That's my time. And now again, this varies, because if you have younger children and a husband at home, then he will take the responsibility. If you don't have a husband at home, or a man, someone else to take care of your children, you'll find other mothers at the school that you can exchange with. There's always a way. So Saturday, this one is my time. Next Saturday, I have, I'll take your children. So the exchange of able to get up and get out. And if that means taking a long bubble bath, if that means going and get your hair done or your nails done or your feet done, if that means, a massage, whatever that means, it cannot be work, children, or home related. It's not about, now I can go to the supermarket and buy the food for the week. It has to be, again, in the calendar, negotiable, and it has to be soothing and caring for
Absolutely. I
your
really
mind,
feel
body, and spirit.
every girl, every lady, every woman listening to this, they should take out time for themselves. It becomes kind of mandatory, especially after becoming a mother, or
Yeah.
after becoming very, very loaded with your work, professional commitments. You have so much going on in your life. You need that peace of mind, something, the self-care, or some time for yourself, for sure.
Yeah.
Clarissa, it's been such an honor to peel back the layers of your journey today. From the runways of Milan to your work with Nobel Peace Prize winners, you have shown us that the limelight isn't just about the fame, it's about the light we shine on others. Thank you so much for being with us today. Listeners, if today's episode fired you up, please share it with your friends and family. Please do subscribe for such more amazing episodes. You're watching Sonali Edake podcast, and see you in next episode. Thank you.